Hey guys, so someone mentioned in my Twitch chat that they were interested in learning how to better deal with tilt. And I mean, I'm not a tilt god or a guru or anything like that, but I do have done a lot of work on this stuff, and I am really interested in psychology and have been following this stuff for a long time. So I've got a lot of information to share about this, as well as I will be referring back to professionals like especially Healthy Gamer, um, dr.k. But I do believe that no one has all the answers to this. No one can tell you, this is how you don't tilt, or do this and you won't tilt. It's a very personal thing, but I think there are a lot of tools that you can use, and a lot of things people have gone through that have helped them. We've got a lot of examples of that, and there's a lot of things that I've been through that have helped me as well. So let's dive right into it. What is tilt? I explain tilt, or I look at tilt as an exaggerated reaction to something. That's how you can find whether or not you're tilting. An example of this would be, say, you have been playing chess for many years and you blunder a queen, and you absolutely rage. Like, you're like, how am I so stupid? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? How could I blunder a queen? Like, I've been playing for years. Why am I so bad? I'm worthless. I'm such a bad chess player. So this is an example of someone overreacting, but someone like a normal reaction to that would be, damn it, I blundered my queen. That sucks. Why did I do this? And sure, you might still be feeling angry about that, or upset, or grief, or whatever, but it doesn't last for very long. It's not fueled by like past events and like this expectation that you have of yourself to be like a perfect chess player. But in reality, tilt is just an emotion like anything else, and we can have exaggerated forms of any emotion in all parts of life. And Dr. K talks about this a lot. Pretty much anyone that comes on to talk to and give an interview to Healthy Gamer, they're talking about some form of emotion, some sort of built up emotion, and I'm going to use the same way to describe this as Dr. K, and that is, it's this trash that you've built up in your body, and your body just stores it inside of you. And so, how was this trash formed? How did it get there? And I believe that trash is formed from beliefs. So beliefs that we have about the world or ourselves, and we can either accept a belief, like believe it's true. An example of this would be, going back to the chess thing, I've spent my entire life playing chess and I still suck. I'm just not good enough. I'm worthless. And obviously those kind of thoughts are going to build up some sort of trash and self-consciousness, low self-worth in you. And the other way that trash is formed is through resisting a belief. So, and a good example of this, very common one, is flying's perfectly safe. Logically, I know nothing bad's going to happen, but why do I still feel so afraid of flying? So this is going to build up trash too, because now we might feel frustrated about not being able to deal with it, or even this can lead to developing a fear of fears, because now we're afraid of feeling that because we don't know how to control it. Fear of control, something like that. So how do these beliefs occur to begin with? Usually there's sort of two ways that they form, I think, and that is either they're learned things. So you hear about this in psychology all the time. Something happened when you were a kid, you were taught something, or your parents said something, or your teacher or someone who you listened to as a kid said something, and it affected you, and it changed your beliefs. Maybe you reacted a certain way to an event, or maybe someone's own beliefs got implanted in you. That's one way they can occur. And the second way is when you've had a thought about something and you've decided to accept that thought as true. And this is the more common one that you experience day to day. And so pretty much because of that, what you're exposed to every day will determine the kind of thoughts that you have. And Dr. K's got a video about this. And so where do these thoughts come from? Well, what you're exposed to every day will determine the kind of thoughts that you have. Dr. K's got a video about this. I think it's in the context of studying, but still relevant. And so if you're experiencing things from, say, the chess community, like this is what the chess community expects a chess player to be, there will be those things. Maybe they're subtle, maybe they're not. And there's sort of like a group think in chess. I think maybe the things that occurred recently were maybe like the thoughts around chess elitism. Like there's certain thoughts that certain groups have, and those thoughts will form expectations, and that will form emotions and beliefs around playing chess. Another very common example is like the 5 closest people that you have around you will affect you, and so choose the best people you can. Same reason, like if you're around negative people, you're going to have negative thoughts and have negative things that happen in your life because of that you have to deal with, and those things will generate negative beliefs. And same with if you have positive people or positive influences, then you can generate, you'll have more positive thoughts or more things that are good, and you'll generate more positive beliefs because you'll just be having more positive thoughts, which is where the beliefs come from. And then the other big one is society. So social media, the news, like very easy example is like COVID right now. I'm going to guess you're having thoughts about COVID a lot because, it's such a huge thing in the news. And so it's not really a mystery of where these thoughts come from. It's just whatever's happening in your day-to-day, those are where the thoughts will come from, and from those is how you'll form beliefs, or you'll choose which one of those thoughts to accept as true. So we're constantly receiving this new information, and because of all of that, it makes sense to turn off any purely toxic information or sources that you have, and introduce better ones. Introducing more good sources is probably a good idea, just because your beliefs are formed from the thoughts that you have. And so if you're just having fewer negative thoughts, it's much less likely you're going to adopt any of those and believe them to be true, and therefore you'll probably have less trash as well, or you'll be generating less trash, I should say. And I think something that I've also thought about as well, and this is just me, maybe just something to think about, is what might also make sense is that, and I think it'll occur in chess players a lot, is that the more intelligent you perceive yourself to be, the more likely you are to listen to your mind and believe the thoughts that do pop up. And this is kind of a good and bad thing, because you get people that are confident and want to work really hard and like do all this stuff, but then you also get a lot of negative self-worth thoughts as well, and you believe in those a lot more than someone else would be. And I mean, you kind of see that correlation, I think, in people that are intelligent. They do a lot of really cool things, but then they're more shy or reserved, or have a lot of self-conscious thoughts. But who knows? That's just what I think. You can think about that as well if you want. Okay. So how do we empty this trash can? Like, say you've had a negative belief in your past, or you've had a belief that's formed, and now you're recognizing that belief may, generate negative emotions. How do we actually empty the trash that's been formed? And this part's kind of weird, because these beliefs are not stored in your logical mind. So you might think that because I'm really smart, I don't need to have any emotional problems because I can just like think my way out of it. But if that was the case, then we wouldn't have the situation where with the flying, where you can logically know that flying is perfectly safe but still be afraid of it. And that's because we don't know exactly why, but people sort of describe that as those emotions or those beliefs are stored in your subconscious, which you can't access. Your logical mind can't really access it. And so so how can we empty the trash if our logical mind cannot access it? Well, there are a few components to this, and we're going to look at awareness, distraction, and then being able to let go of the trash, or put the trash out. So if we can't logically change anything, how can we empty the trash? Well, it starts with awareness, and Dr. K talks about this a bit, but the awareness itself will just slowly start to empty the trash, and it's really becoming aware that there is a problem, and then becoming aware of actually what you're feeling, like the sensations that you're feeling in the body, and that being aware that you're associating those sensations to a certain belief that you may have about yourself or someone else. this awareness on its own is just going to shift your subconscious to change. And the benefits actually of playing a sport or playing chess is that you'll be doing something competitive, which is going to constantly bringing up, these past things, these beliefs that you have about yourself, especially, and you'll get to work on this stuff a lot. Like these things will just come up when you're doing competitive stuff. And then another great way, a way to build this awareness as well is to do things like yoga and meditation. The practice of meditation is actually the practice of you becoming aware of what's going on in your mind and your body, and that's pretty much it. You're practicing, when these things occur, to instead of distract yourself, which is the next point, to actually look at them and just be able to sit with them and not need for them to affect you. They don't have to affect you. You can just watch them and that's it. And so the next point. So that's awareness, and that'll slowly start working on this kind of stuff. But then there's also distraction. So, and this is actually very some things you can see when you watch Dr. K as well, is that when trash does come up, we try and distract ourselves from it. Like people will automatically try to distract themselves instead of facing it, because when you face it, it allows the trash to empty. But nowadays it's just so difficult to not get distracted, because we just have so many things that we can look at. Like you'll see when you're watching those videos of Dr. K interviewing, when that trash starts to come up, people will like start looking at their screens again. They were previously like engaged in the conversation, but then when the start's coming up, they're looking at their screens, they're clicking around and stuff, and he's like, no, stop, like look at me, what just happened there? And he'll bring that awareness about for them. And I mean, if we even go back to a previous example, like, do you think that raging chess player was like sitting with the sensations and being aware of them, or do you think that more likely they were trying to distract themselves by just playing more games? And I mean, I'm not a master at this. Like, it's very difficult to not distract yourself, when you're just by yourself. So don't beat yourself up when you're unable to do it, especially on your own. Everyone struggles with it. It's best to set aside time to work on it when you notice it, and just try your best in the moment to do something as well. And then that's distraction. The last point, which is sort of the proactive way of working on this stuff and like getting rid of tilt and there's negative emotions that you might be experiencing, or changing negative beliefs, is letting go. So letting go of this belief will change it. Like you can replace it with something else. And it's basically you setting up time where you can bring up your beliefs and the associated emotions and sensations and just sit with them. Like be able to just sit there with them and accept that they're there, and then try and figure out how to change them. And the way you do that is by going back to where you think they occurred and to change the root of the belief. And it's best to do this, say if it's really bad, like if it's actually harming you, or you're feeling a lot of maybe too much anxiety or depressed or whatever. It's best to go to a professional to work on this process. And then, but if you're not at that stage, then talking to friends is good. Finding someone that will actually listen to you, maybe get them to watch one of Dr. K's interviews, so that they understand the kind of questions to ask and sort of how to lead you on this journey, like deeper into yourself, so you can get to this point. And how to get you to just sit, when those sensations are coming up, how do you get you to just sit with them and be aware of them and not need to change anything, not need to distract yourself, but just like sort of watch them. That's going to help as well. And then communities, there's a whole bunch of communities you can join and talk to people that do this stuff. One of my ones that I used previously was Byron Katie's, and I mean I'll link the website here, but you can go check it out. She's got a really good system to do this. You can actually call people for free, and I think they're around the world, so you can basically do it anytime. What I found is for this kind of stuff is that when you're ready to do it, you'll be ready to do it. Like it's kind of paradoxical, but you probably won't want to work on this stuff all the time. There'll just be a moment in your life where you're like, I really want to work on this right now. Like I've noticed something's going on. I've got exaggerated emotions in this area, and I actually want to spend time working on it now. It seems to just happen. Like it doesn't. It's not something that you just do all the time. Especially, well, not me at least. It's sort of just when it occurs and you feel motivated to do it. That's when you do it, pretty much. Unless you're really going through like some bad shit, like anxiety and depression, like anything really bad, I would definitely go talk to a professional, because you might never get that motivation. But if you're just going through stuff day to day and you feel feel okay most of the time, and then sometimes you feel terrible, then you can just do this when you want to, or when you feel like you need to. And then the last thing you can do is just do it yourself. So the easiest way to do this is you're basically just practicing this technique of letting go, like you just being able to sit there with your sensations, not distracting yourself, not judging it, like not analyzing it, not using your logical mind to be like, this is why I'm feeling this. Just literally feel what you're feeling in your body and just try and relax and let it be there. It's kind of weird because it's like, why would this do anything? But you kind of have to just do it, and then you'll be able to see yourself, how it changes things over time. You can also do on Byron Katie's website, she's got a whole bunch of resources for free that you can just use and go through that process yourself. Although I would recommend doing it with another person. And then basically, if you are doing it yourself, the only prerequisites are that you relax and you sort of understand where these thoughts are coming from. Like, try and find the root of them, and then you don't have to remember the exact thing, but try and find it at least, and try to feel those sensations or those emotions, like that event that occurred that made you feel that way, like at the start. And then sort of just relax into it, let those things come up. And you can also do Byron Katie's thing and answer the questions at the same time. And that sort of just works through that process of getting to that finding that place in your subconscious that belief is stored, and then changing it, like sort of uprooting it and putting like a new one in there that's more logical. And that's pretty much it. Like, this kind of stuff, I don't want to go too much into like how to actually solve it, because I don't know. Like, I've just done a whole bunch of different things. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. I think it's best to talk to someone else when you're doing it, because there's this weird magical thing that happens is, it just comes up. Like, you want to talk about it, you want to let it go, like your body wants to get rid of it, and it'll just come up. Like, if you're feeling relaxed and comfortable, you'll be able to work through it, and yeah, it'll change. But yeah, so that's how I deal with tilt. If you guys want to, hopefully this helped someone a little bit. But if you want to follow my Twitch journey, at the moment we're on about 1300 elo, and we're still climbing. So if you're interested in following or coming and joining our community, then click on the link below. Right now, click on the link to go to my Twitch channel and follow me there. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel here. And if you have any questions or just want to like DM me about the stuff that you're going through, then feel free to do that as well. I'll have my Twitter link. You can send me a message on Twitter. And yeah, hopefully this helped you, and see you later.